Hi there, it's Hallie Crawford with HallieCrawford.com Career Coaching. I hope you're having a great week. I am, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm talking about the top 10 tips to help you identify your ideal career. So last week we started on the first 3 tips, and today we're going to talk about tips 4, 5, and 6 to help you continue on the journey of identifying your ideal career. You ready? Let's rock and roll. So tip number 4 in identifying your ideal career is to, when you're thinking about career ideas, is to look at the big picture. Here's what I find happens for people. I see so many clients come to me and they're thinking about a possible career change and they've brainstormed some ideas, which is great. But they tend to look at only 1 or 2 factors when they're considering their career path. They might be considering their salary, which is really important, but not the only thing you can consider. They might be considering, location, what kind of work environment, or what kind of skills and experience they have to bring to the table in order to identify the right career. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with looking at those things in order to identify the right career path. Those are actually things you need to consider. But you need to also take a step back and look at the big picture, because I find that too many people, they take a look at their resume and they say, okay, I'm good at this, I have work experience in this, or my degree is in this field, so I'm just going to go in that direction. And they forget to think about, would I really be fulfilled by this job? Would I really enjoy it and want to get out of bed in the morning to go to work every day? They forget things like that. So what I always tell people is look at the big picture. Don't get caught up in only looking at 1 or 2 criteria to identify your ideal career. Look at several of them. In my ideal career program, I actually have 8 things, 8 different things that people need to consider in order to identify their ideal career. And that all of those 8 things are part of my career model. It's very comprehensive and holistic. And it helps people look at the big picture, which is what you need to do. So tip number 4 is look at the big picture when you're wanting to identify your ideal career. Okay, so tip number 5 is to identify and tap into your natural talents. So I talked about this a second ago. When people are looking to clarify their career direction and identify what the right career path is, one of the things they need to definitely look at is what are your natural talents and abilities. So think about this for a moment. What is one thing that you do better than most people you know? Doesn't have to be for everybody, but one thing that you do better than most people that you know. That is probably one of your natural talents and abilities. And it's one of the things that you have to consider when you're identifying your ideal career. Okay? It is a fact. Studies have shown that when people are using their natural talents and abilities in a job, they are more fulfilled and rewarded in that job. And if you're not, it's a problem. So think about your current career path. Are you using your natural talents and abilities? This is like using your gifts and talents. You need to tap into them. And if you're not, that's a red flag. You probably need to be looking in a different career direction. So tip number 5 is to identify and tap into your natural talents and abilities. Tip number 6 is don't discount what comes naturally to you. This is related to the 5th tip about your natural talents and abilities. Here's another thing that I find happens to people is they tend to discount what comes naturally to them just because it comes so easily to them. So it could be anything from, are you great at planning events or working with spreadsheets, working with numbers, or connecting and communicating, networking with people? Realize that not everyone is good at those things. When we do something over and over in our lives and it comes very naturally and easily to us, we start to assume that everybody can do these same things. And that is not the case. You have to be careful about discounting what comes naturally to you and realize that these are actually things that you need to highlight on your resume, mention in an interview, and consider when you're identifying your ideal career. So tip number 6 is don't discount what comes naturally to you. So those were, for today, tips 4, 5, and 6 for identifying your ideal career. Tune in next week where we're going to talk about tips 7, 8, 9, and we'll throw in a bonus tip number 10 as well for the top 10 tips to identify your ideal career. As you know, I am all about having a career you love. So work on these steps this week. Brainstorm ideas here. Use these tips right away and get in touch with me if you need additional help. That's why I'm here. I love what I do and I want to help you find the right career path as well. I'll talk to you next week.